What is up, NFL fans? It is your boy Kevin Phillip Fox, and I am here with the Legit Football NFL podcast. That is right. It is Division Round preview, and I'm just now realizing there's a whole light in the frame, and we have almost entirely taken care of. We've almost entirely eradicated the problem. And ladies and gentlemen, we are partying in the USA. Himburglar Ray is here with me from NFL Stats. Jimmy, welcome in. How are you doing, my brother?
I am doing great, man.
Royalty-free hip-hop never hit so hard.
Yeah, divisional round weekend.
All right. So how about our Irish?
Let's go, dude. That's
What's
huge.
up with that?
We didn't even talk about it on Monday.
Dude, we didn't even talk about it. We're natty bound, brother.
We're natty freaking bound. It's all
Natty
because
bound.
of you go into a game.
That's what it was, bro. And
Go ahead.
if that same logic applies to the Irish, it should apply to the same as the Bills then, and both teams should be going to the
I'm
final,
talking college. This is a college football rule.
It's just only applies for college. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Don't bring the Bills into this right now.
All right, well, I'm bringing the Bills into it because, Jimmy, we talked about the games. We had a very fun wild card recap episode on Monday. We do miss our partner from down under, but Adrian Revito, as we all know.
Will he make a surprise appearance, though?
I hope so. He just has a lot going on. He's just way more important and busy and has a lot more going on than we do. You and me are kind of like
my sources tell me he has a lot more responsibilities than us.
Yeah. Also, married, kid. Yeah, kind of lends itself to
potential house situation. Yeah,
kind of lends itself to not being able to drop it all and just pod with us whenever we damn well please. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Without further ado, Himburglar. I don't know. There's been some NFL news throughout the week. Anything jumping out to you that is pulling your focus enough from the divisional round preview? Anything you feel is worth talking about before we dive into the big meat and potatoes of the episode?
I would say the biggest thing is the coaches and things right now. That's one thing to think about. The in-person interviews start after this round, so potentially whoever loses this round or coaches that are not on playoff teams, we'll be seeing a lot more in-person interviews. Maybe we'll see the ball rolling on certain head coaches, but everybody's waiting on Ben Johnson, maybe Deion Sanders and the Cowboys.
Yeah,
that's one news story that kind of broke. That people are like, that would be fun. That's a weird situation. So what are your thoughts on Deion?
It'd be hard not to get excited about a situation like that. NFL legend Deion Sanders has done, love him or hate him, he's done absolutely remarkable things for the sport of college football. Me personally, my interest levels in college football has skyrocketed over the past handful of years. I think a lot of it has to do with the NIL, Coach Prime, all that stuff. It's really, really invigorating the sport. So to have a personality like that and a showman like that in the NFL, especially in Dallas, oh my goodness. I don't see a way that it could possibly work.
Yeah.
I think it would flame out, but I think it would be just an absolute magnificent blaze of glory.
Yeah, it seems like his coaching. I think the biggest concern with a lot of people, including myself, is like his coaching strategy. I mean, it works very well with college players and taking that lead. But when you're coaching grown men, it's kind of a different way that you have to motivate them and lead them and control them. Neither of us are there at practices, things like that, so we don't know his full scope. And I think the players could definitely respect and trust him. I mean, this dude's been everywhere in terms of he's a football legend, he's a baseball legend. I mean, he's a stud athlete wise. I think he'll earn people's respect that way. But we just have to see how he is as a coach in the NFL if he does take that on. But I'd be excited for it personally.
He's definitely an all-timer, and I'm definitely eager to see what happens with Coach Prime. There's a lot of rumors that he wants to be paired up with Shador. I'm not sure how likely that would be in Dallas. They'd have to pull some sort of a coup d'etat with the trade situation.
Yeah, Dak Prescott's under contract and stuff. It's
kind of mucks up the works a little bit, kind of makes it a little confusing. But all that being said, no, do I think it would be great for Dallas? No. Do I think it would be great for the NFL? and for entertainment purposes, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So that's a really big storyline. Good call on that. Anything else you're hearing? You kind of got your ear to the ground in league circles a little bit more than me personally. My feed right now and my mind and my everything is Bills, Ravens. So you know,
You saying I don't have a team in the playoffs?
I am saying that. I am literally saying that, Jimmy. So let's talk about that. NFL stats. You got any scoops? You got any
Colts are looking for DC. I don't know where that's at.
Lou
The
Anarumo
the
next?
NFL's talking about. Oh, that'd be fun.
Right? Why not?
I think the Colts are going to change it up on defense, so I'm excited to see that.
Lou
I don't.
Anarumo getting any head coaching steam
I don't think so.
because
I
of
don't.
the
I
how
don't think he's
bad
there.
the
I think he's probably going to look at a new DC job. I don't think getting fired as a DC will lead to a head coaching
so
job.
the meltdown of Cincinnati on defense over the last handful of years.
Yeah, because
Like
he was there when they went to the
he was
playoffs,
hot.
things like that. He was the Mahomes killer
Yeah,
kind of vibe for a while.
yeah.
But nothing there. I think we've interviewed him or it's on the books at some point. Dennis Allen is there for sure. I think
That'd be a fun one.
that'd be interesting. It's like I think the head coaches that get fired are more likely to get a DC job. For
Yeah,
sure, especially if you have experience doing that. And Dennis Allen obviously does. And people look at it like crazy. I mean, you can be a bad head coach, but if you can focus on defense coordinator, it's kind of like Cliff Kingsbury focusing on the offense, and I think he wants to continue doing that. Based off of a lot of what people say, I don't know if he wants a head coaching job. It doesn't seem like he's taking a lot of interviews. At least I haven't heard his name in circles, but
some people are just better for that role than for being the
yeah,
head honcho. It's just the truth. We'll see how those all unfold. To the 291 in the chats watching, yada yada, please feel free to comment, chop it up if you have any talking points you want us to address, any news blurbs you want us to talk about. But Jimmy and I are here for really one reason and one reason only, and that is to preview
go Ravens.
playoff football. Shut up, shut your damn mouth. So without further ado, opening up with the first game of the weekend, we have the Houston Texans traveling to Arrowhead to take on the Kansas City Chiefs, who at home are 8.5-point home favorites. Jimmy Ray, I'll let you start with this game. Talk to me about your thoughts. Let's go big picture, and we'll zoom in as we go.
Yeah, I mean, feel free to go back and forth too at this point when it's just us two.
Right.
But I mean so looking back on it, we haven't seen the Chiefs play in like 25 days. Let's start off by saying let's not forget how good the Chiefs are. Let's not be like, oh, the Texans like won a playoff game last week, so maybe there's a chance. Last week I picked the Chargers to win, so I'm not that high on the Texans to begin with. And the Chiefs, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is 6-0 when he leads the Chiefs into the divisional round. So I don't see that changing personally. He has 16 touchdowns, no turnovers in the divisional round. That's absurd. So for the Texans game plan as a whole, you need to have a game like you did last week against the Chargers, right? I mean, you have to have the 3 turnovers. You have to have some dynamic plays on offense. You have to be able to run the ball. Chris Jones in that D tackle position, running the ball. I don't think you're going to do that. You know what I mean? I mean, it doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
Yep, I agree.
The Chiefs are. I mean, I think the Chiefs are the odds-on favorite. I think they're favorites by like 8-9 points. It's hard to see a way for the Texans to win. They're going to have some turnovers on the defensive side of the ball, maybe a big play to start out, take the lead in that first quarter. Because after the first quarter, if you're down 10 points, something like that, it's over for you, in my opinion, when you're playing the Chiefs. But do you have any hope for the Texans?
So this whole time I've been trying to set it up so that it will like scroll across the bottom with the whatnot, but that's okay. Yeah, and I will heed a lot of your points. I think I completely agree with you about Houston and what they needed to have happen to sort of create the conditions for them to win last week. It doesn't really seem like a super replicatable formula. Although I will say, for whatever it's worth, Patrick Mahomes is not exactly turnover proof. I wouldn't say he's turnover prone, but he does make the occasional mistake. Not so much in the playoffs. So I do think that the Chiefs are kind of that team that elevate their game like in a sort of insane way when the lights are the brightest. We've kind of seen that year in and year out. So despite my desire to analyze this as kind of a despite my desire to analyze this as kind of a more umbrella situation, more of an umbrella game, I don't really think we can do that. Me personally, I think we have to change the way we look at the Chiefs once the playoffs start, because I think they have their formula of we can coast to the 1 seed. We can really get to the 1 seed without breaking a sweat. They're almost like a great Olympic runner that somehow manages to they somehow manage to be ahead of the field the entire race and still have more stamina to sprint at the end than any other team. So I
Yeah.
gotta give them that playoff spike. I think it's gonna take them showing up on an off day and Houston showing up on their best day, kind of like what happened last week. And I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm not predicting it. I don't think it's likely.
Yeah, I mean, we did this song and dance kind of last year, right, with the Chiefs, and that was like there's chance to be like, okay, the Chiefs have been not too great on offense this year. You know, their defense is shaky. Let's see what they do in the playoffs because they could fall. Guess what they did? Do you remember what they did last year?
Won the Super Bowl.
They won the Super Bowl. They're looking to three-peat, and I don't think the Texans are going to be the team to stop them.
Yeah.
It would definitely be a great win for the Texans if they did. And I think 2 out of 10 games, the Texans might make it close, maybe get the win. But in the playoffs, I think it comes down. I think it's like a 10% less than that chance that the Texans somehow pull out the win. But I think they played earlier this season, if I'm not mistaken, and they
It
lost
was
by
a
8 or something like that. I
actually, you
mean,
know
but
what?
it
It was
never
an 8-point
feels that
game.
close. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that game because that's the Tank Dell gruesome injury game. Yeah, that was really bad. And it
Moment of
was
silence.
a moment of silence for Tank Dell. Thank you. Yeah, so I have to give the Texans credit. I have to give them their due diligence. If we're gonna break it down, I mean, look, we have 4 games to talk about, and we are 13 minutes into the pod, so I think we can get a little bit more
We make
granular.
it we make it last an hour regardless of how many games there are. There could be
Oh,
one game we'll make it an hour.
it'll be an hour 15. We're talking about 4 games. But I do think we can afford to get a little bit more granular than usual. I
Yeah.
think usually I would look for a big Joe Mixon spot in a game like this, but Kansas City's run defense has been so solid all year. I just don't really know if I see him getting loose. And he has been kind of weirdly awesome this year. Like, I think really as good, if not better than any year he's had in Cincy. So I think Joe Mixon, he could be an X factor if they can create some extra holes for him, if he can find some extra space in the passing game. When it comes to Houston trying to attack Kansas City, I mean, if you treat Nico Collins like an elite wide receiver 1 and you give him bracket coverage the way that they do, just the way that they've historically done to Stephon Diggs in the playoffs, the way that they historically do to Jamar Chase in the playoffs. Plus, it's not like they don't have great corners. Like, it's not, bracket coverage is one thing, but it's not like Trent McDuffie can't just come in and give somebody clamps. You know what I'm
I think he
saying?
was
So
snubbed from the awards this year too, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
he was. So I don't know, Jimmy. Houston moving the ball in Kansas City. I think they're gonna need Stroud to somehow miraculously find his post fumbled snap form from last week. They're gonna need him to be that guy from the jump.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you need a game plan of like CJ Stroud needs to be that guy in this game, and you need to use the other players around him to like set him up for success. Focus
Yeah.
on that running game. See if you can avoid Chris Jones, like get it on the outside, anything like that.
Traps and
Maybe
stunts.
some quick plays to start out. Just try to get him on the outside, but at that point, it's just I don't know if it'll be enough. So
Yeah.
it'll be very tough. But CJ Stroud's a phenomenal player, and we've seen him do crazy things in the past, especially in the playoffs. So getting a playoff playoff win in each of his playoffs so far.
Pretty
So we can't
impressive.
discount him on making. I mean, he's an upset machine in the playoffs so far.
He could elevate his game. If we flip it over, we look at when the Chiefs have the ball. I kind of think the Texans are catching Kansas City at an unfortunate time. They almost have a full covered. Pacheco's back, Hollywood Brown's back. No Rashee Rice, which really hurts, but as full of a strength Travis Kelce as they'll have at his age. And so I don't know, Jimmy. I think this is going to be, Houston's D hasn't necessarily been a slouch all year. They have had their moments.
Yeah.
Player like Daniil Hunter, man, he'll get after the quarterback. Mahomes is tough to bring down, especially in the playoffs. Again, you talk about elevating your game. Nobody really does that more than 15 in this matchup. And I kind of think we'll see him do that classic Mahomes. He'll probably run for some like fun little prop here. Like his line for rushing is 23.5. All season, I think he averaged around 19 rushing yards per game, but it's the playoffs, and Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes likes to take off in the playoffs. He'll take a couple more hits. He really will. So
yeah, I mean, we have to see Daniel Hunter and Will Anderson with a couple sacks, with like 4 or 5 sacks, maybe combined on the defensive line at least, get some pressure on Patrick Mahomes. 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to get pressure on him, or you will not win this game. That's a fact. If you don't get 10 plus pressures throughout the game, that's the minimum, I feel like.
Yeah. And I think the only way you can ensure that, because he's Mahomes and because of his escapability, I think you have to employ like a cage rush situation.
Yeah.
Like I think you want to keep him hemmed into the pocket. I'd rather him throw the ball away, 7 times out of 10 than give him that one chance to slip outside and find Worthy.
Yeah, line up more outside and try to get around him a little bit. So if he moves to the left, right, tries to back up, then
keep him hemmed in.
Hopefully have people there. Yeah, but
keep him hemmed in. I think
everybody's going to have to be back in the backfield,
Yeah.
or he's just gonna roam around you and make that stupid little flick throw to Travis Kelce for the first down.
Stupid. It is
not
so stupid.
Sorry,
No,
we're unbiased completely here as AFC
fans. Totally unbiased. I think the key to the game is going to be pass protection. Is Isaiah Pacheco even remotely 100% right now? Because they haven't utilized him the ways we expected them to this season at all.
Yeah, he hasn't really been a factor. So
I'm wondering, does Kareem Hunt take more snaps because Kareem Hunt kind of, I think, profiles a little bit better in pass protection?
Or, Carson Steele, Ball State legend.
Crocky J.
People forget Crocky J. People forget about him.
You also could utilize P. Ryan more. P. Ryan in the 2-minute drill. That dude.
Samaje.
Yep.
Samaje.
He a dog, man.
It doesn't matter who's.
He's good for like 2 catches for like 23 yards a game. That's like a lock. That's like
I love
a
that for him.
Bet Kev's rent.
Yeah.
So I think it's time. I think the hay's in the barn. You want to give me your prediction?
27-17.
Kansas City.
I mean, I don't think Chiefs games always seem to be close anyways, or at least seem that way.
So you got Houston covering. No, you got Kansas City covering.
Yeah, but I wouldn't bet it.
No, hashtag don't bet the rent.
Hashtag don't bet Kev's rent.
Hashtag don't bet Kev's rent. Okay.
Throw a free bet on there.
I do. I think you're in the right stratosphere in terms of score and in terms of proximity. I'll give Houston a little bit more of a leg to stand on. I'll go 24-20. And I'll take Kansas City. So I will actually take Houston to cover the 8.5 point spread. I just think it's going to be. I think if you're looking for a great football game with great execution on both sides and clean officiating, I think skip this one. Catch the later game. That's just my
fun fact. So the referee crew for this game, I found, has the most holding calls this season. Chiefs have the second most called holdings. So that's something. I mean, if they get pushed back a little bit on offense, if some people are holding on the offensive line, then we'll see. But hopefully that's not for a playoff game. I don't like seeing that kind of stuff in the playoffs.
No, I absolutely hate it. A couple drives could get stilted. All right, Jimmy, do me a huge solid.
Yes.
And cover me for 15 seconds while I prepare the next banner.
All right, so Kevin is preparing the next banner. I believe that next game is the Commanders at Lions. Is that correct, as you're doing that, Kev? I mean, that's going to be a high-powered game. So we will see what happens there. Jaden Daniels is a baller. We saw him last week. We talked about it on Monday. The dude, I mean, that game was really close, but in the third, fourth down plays, fourth quarter as a whole, fourth quarter, I believe he has -8.5.
And ladies and gentlemen,
That was
Kevin is
good.
back, and he's back with a banner that actually scrolls. Wow. Let me tell you.
Never a doubt.
Washington,
Stab producer.
Jaden Daniels dude, talk about a scab. This is the scab on
Yeah.
the scab, bro. This is like artificial skin producer. Washington at Detroit. Detroit 8.5-point home favorites at Ford Field. Talk about a great game environment. Indoors, two high profile passers, two elite offenses. Mamma mia, am I excited to see the fireworks that we might have in store for us in Jaden Daniels' second playoff game. I'll say this, Jimmy, right off the bat. I think Washington is maybe the most house money team remaining in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They're the team that out of the 8 remaining are supposed to be there.
Yeah,
the
Texans
least.
have been here before. They've never been to the conference championship ever. So you could, but I still don't think that's house money. I think
When you say they've, what do you mean they've?
the Texans.
Oh, that's
Looking
fair.
at the
That's fair.
teams.
That's fair. That's a good point.
The Texans
Equal.
are really the only other team to even consider.
But one
at
of
this
them has a
point.
rookie quarter, or one of them has a rookie
Yeah.
quarterback, and it's their first year as a regime in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
last year Texans were the house money team.
The other one, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
Stroud has been there, Ryans has been there. Like this is kind of, they're just continuing.
Yeah, you want to
business as
progress as a
usual.
Texans, but the Commanders, this is
Yep.
your first 11-win season in like 100 years, something like that. So
Incredible. Well, that might have been Cat, but yeah.
What do you mean?
I don't think that's true. First 11-win season in 100 years.
Google it.
Are you serious?
No.
I was gonna say no way. Anyways,
You can Google it.
So
Google
I think
this in the comments.
I think this game's gonna start and end with our X factor. I'll say Jaden Daniels at quarterback. I think him when Washington has the ball, look for him to. I think he's gonna have to throw it more. Last week they did a really good job containing him as a runner. Tampa didn't really let him hurt them too bad with his legs, apart from a couple key first down runs late in the game. He didn't really rack up the yards. I want to say he was in the 30-ish range for yards, and that's like uncharacteristically low for him on the season. But with Detroit, the big difference comes from the health of their defense. And we know they've been missing. How many defensive starters, Jimmy, is Detroit going to be without in this game? Six?
Something like that. Yeah, it's bad.
Defensive starters out for Detroit, and that's just bad business when you're playing a quarterback like Jaden Daniels, who is so capable of hurting you in so many ways. So I think Jaden Daniels, when the Commanders have the ball, is the key. I think he's going to have to be Superman a little bit. We're going to have to see the same Jaden Daniels who created the magic against Philly, the magic against Chicago, the magic against Atlanta, the magic against Tampa last week in the playoffs. We need to see that guy. We need to see last week on the preview pod, I believe I said they had pixie dust. That is a pixie dust team. And if they can just keep accessing that pixie dust, the sky's the limit. I don't know. I don't know how far they can go if they can win this game, but because then they'll have another brutal matchup on the other side. But on the other side of the ball, when Detroit is on offense, I think it starts and ends with Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's going to be utilized early and often. I believe Montgomery's coming back for this game.
He
first
is,
game back.
100%, yeah. He's off the injury report. Crazy.
That's a little tricky, given coming back from the injury, first game back. I'm not like extremely elated. I wouldn't want to throw him in any of my parlays. I'm not extremely elated that he's back. I don't know.
I think they'll use him. I think they'll use him.
The same.
So.
But do you think he'll have the same degree of effectiveness?
With the way the Lions offense does it, I think he'll get a touchdown.
Jimmy Ray, bet the rent. Montgomery touchdown.
He was full practice the past couple of days. So, and he had 12 touchdowns in 14 games this year. He had over 1,000 yards. I mean, this dude's a playmaker. It's a playoff game, so it's hard to say. Like, I just feel like playoff game, you throw all the marbles on the table.
Definitely,
especially with a team like the Commanders. So, I feel like if he's active and ready to go, I feel like they should utilize him as much as possible.
Yep, and we could be looking at a Ben Johnson legacy game here. He's got a lot of bites at the apple in terms of where he's going to go to be the head coach somewhere, and this might be his last game as a coordinator if he doesn't pull this off. But either way, it's likely the last dance with him and this regime in Detroit. So look for him to maybe throw some paint at the canvas and see what kind of just mad scientist stuff he can create. I am extremely excited to see what Ben Johnson comes up with on how to attack this Washington defense that has been okay this year. They're not, I wouldn't say they're elite, but Detroit's offense is elite, so I think they will put up points. Jimmy, where are you standing on this matchup? What are you perceiving in this matchup?
Yeah, so I mean the over under is 55.5 for this game, which is the highest since like 2020 for a playoff game. So we can expect, I think everybody expects a high scoring game, correct? Shootout. Yeah. This must be terrifying. I am terrifying. If you don't know that, that's a sound bit. I'm sure it's
Classic.
It's here somewhere, but we don't have our producers, so I have
find
no
it.
idea.
I'll find it.
Okay, I'll sit here and wait.
Oh no, keep talking. I'll find it while you talk. Oh wait,
no,
here it
but I
is.
mean,
Here it
yeah.
is. Here it is.
I love toast. I love toast. I love toast. I love toast.
Was that it?
That's not it. No, it said I love toast.
Oh, I thought that was it.
This is bad. This is bad. It's
Wait.
bad podcasting right now.
I'm just really looking for a terrifying. Okay, go ahead, buddy.
I mean, you hit all the dots on the Lions. They're an explosive offense for sure, and I don't think the Commanders will have a ton to be able to stop that. To be honest with you, I think it'll be a high-scoring game because, like you said, the Lions' defense is also very banged up. But Jaden Daniels, I mean, this guy on third and fourth downs, this guy's a baller. He has 14 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on third and fourth down. Fourth down, he has a perfect QBR. In the fourth quarter, he has 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So we're looking at a rookie quarterback who's not playing like a rookie in those types of situations.
Built for it.
Yeah, he's built for it. And I mean, I think potentially he could be playing better in the playoffs than he did in the regular season. We could see because every moment's kind of like those moments, you know. On the defensive side of the ball, they have allowed the fewest yards after catch this season. That's a strong suit for the Lions, so that could match up well. Terry McLaurin, he's a stud. He kind of came out, and him and Jaden Daniels found their groove very quickly. The running game will have a lot of question marks. See if the Commanders can have something there. Austin Eckler, he's been a great pass catching back behind. He played great against the Buccaneers. I told myself I would pick an upset. I'm going to, dude.
This one.
I'm gonna pick the Commanders. Yeah.
Wow. Give me your score.
I think
you may have just alienated yourself from Anthony for the rest of time, but
that's fine. I mean, 31-27 Commanders is my score. I think it'll be a relatively high scoring game, but I think hopefully the Lions could easily win this. I'm picking an underdog because I just feel like underdog divisional round. There needs to be one team that I pick. We'll see if I pick 2. But I think they hold them to a couple field goals in the red zone.
Wow.
Or I guess or like a 1 field goal and like a turnover on downs. But we saw Dan Quinn. What?
I'm just shocked.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Dan Quinn go for it 5 times on 4th down. So what if we just see no punts, no field goals, and then a couple plays goes the Commanders' way, and then Jaden Daniels, we've seen him do it before, quite a few times, even against good teams like the Eagles. So
yeah. Both teams,
not
riverboat. Like, that's just how they play.
Yeah, I was like, do I want to – I just feel like high-scoring games, it's more the ball can bounce any sort of way. That's kind of why I picked this as an upset. So
yeah, you increase variance when you play aggressively like that. And when you're the worst team, quote unquote, right? Like we've agreed, they're the house money team. You want to increase variance.
Yeah. And I mean, they're gonna be like you at the casino. You know, they're gonna keep increasing their house money. Increasing it. Yeah.
But honestly though, good times, man. Good times. Got to throw 20 on red when you walk in the door. It's
red 18.
Red 18, brother.
A couple bucks on there.
So I will be the voice of reason, I suppose, on the pod today. Because
it'd be funny if you picked the Commanders
despite the excitement of Jaden Daniels and my offseason darling Commanders, like, I mean, you know, that this is my team, so I really should be planting my flag, but they're the happy to be their team. And I think Detroit, as I've said repeatedly over the years, Washington, they're ascending. Detroit's ascended. They're there, brother. That's that team. I think that's the favorite to make it to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. So I can't pick against them, even with the injuries. I just think 33-30, and I'll say there's a chance this game goes to overtime, but I'll say 33-30 Detroit. Jake Bates walk-off.
I'm excited for this game, man.
Me too. It's going to be It's going to be a really fun one. All right,
And
Jimmy,
the Lions are probably gonna blow them out now that I said
cover
that.
me for 15 seconds. Do me a huge favor, actually. Let the people know if there's any props from any of the games that you like this weekend to bet your run on.
Dude, I have no idea what the props are this week. I'm in a betting hole, so I'm trying to stay out of it. If we're looking, we could look, at the Commanders Lions here. Eckler catches. I think that could be a potential shoot. Jameson Williams touchdown. I think he could, take one down the sideline. I think they'll be looking to get him some big plays to start out. So we'll see there. You know what? I said it earlier. David Montgomery, Tud. Because I think the odds will be somewhat decent. Still, I have no idea what the odds are. I'm just kind of
Kaboom.
saving time because he put me on the spot here.
Boom shakalaka. David
sorry.
Montgomery, Tud, book it. Jimmy Ray, you heard it here first. Bet. Kev's rent.
Maybe two
bet.
Tuds, just because Kev doesn't like it, I feel like.
I don't not like
if
it.
Kev doesn't like it, bet
it's his
my
first
rent.
game back. I'm always a little dicey on guys' first game
It's the
back.
playoffs.
We have not really I just live in LA, but they're not really my team. But we have the LA Rams.
You have a team in every game.
Who are absolutely surging coming off of their dominant performance on Monday Night Football, taking down Sam Darnold. Really, really not just Sam Darnold in the game, but also taking down his paycheck. I think he went from a Brinks truck to an envelope after the last game and what the Rams defense did to him, unfortunately. But with the city on their back, and like you said, Jimmy, teams in those situations, you said it on Monday, teams in those situations come out fired up.
Yeah, we were right. I put in the group chat, I was like, the Rams. That's all I said.
You weren't playing. You said it on the pod. You said look for them to be playing inspired for the city, and you weren't kidding. We saw one of the best mouth punches really in playoff history with just how Darnold, just the true pumpkining of the year. Fraud for #fraud of the year.
Lost 100 mil.
#fraud of the year.
Don't call him a fraud. That's mean.
He
could be listening right now. Yeah.
No, I like him as a dude. I felt really bad watching that. That was unfortunate. He's had a lot of adversity in his career. So
the future Colts quarterback. We gotta be nice to him.
That would be awesome for you guys. No, it won't happen. Anthony Richardson. AR. Anyways.
Justin Fields.
We have a great football game to talk about here. Matt Stafford traveling to Philadelphia to take on Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. Philly's a 6-point home favorite. Jimmy, talk to me about the X's and O's. Talk to me about your keys of the game. Take me through this game.
The trenches, man. We've talked about the trenches with the Rams and with the Eagles, right? We saw last week what was the game-winning aspect for the Rams last week. I think the casual fan could have seen it. It was Sam Darnold was uncomfortable in the pocket very early, and the decision was made for him. It felt like to just lay down and take it because he was sacked 9 times. He had 103 pressures just in one game.
Did you say 103?
103. This is called
that's actually accurate.
That's hyperbolic, or it's factual. We'll see.
One of the two.
But the Rams have a top 5 red zone defense. Their goal line, their front 7. Aaron Donald's not there, but I feel like he was in the press box, and I was like, wait, Aaron Donald's not playing right now, because it feels like he's playing with how much pressure they're getting.
Seriously.
But the problem here is the Vikings offensive line is not anywhere close to the Eagles offensive line and what they've been as a unit for past 5 years, past decade. They've had consistency on that front. Jason Kelsey obviously just retired, but their offensive line is amazing. If any offensive line is explosive, it's the Lions, it's the Eagles. They ran over 300 yards against the Rams. They beat them up on just running the ball. So I see that being the game plan again for the Eagles. And the Rams, they're good at the pass rush, and Jalen Hurts hasn't had his best year, so we'll see if he gets uncomfortable in the pocket. But if they can get a good first drive going for the Eagles, and they take the lead, I think it's tough for them. I know the Eagles defense is solid too, but I think the Eagles offense, I think that offensive line, defensive line is kind of the key factor there.
I love it, man. I couldn't agree with you more about the trenches. These two teams, I think trenches are going to define how this game turns out, because if the Rams can harass Jalen Hurts the way that they harass Sam Darnold and keep everybody in Philly on their toes the way people were on their toes in Minnesota, it will be, or I guess in Glendale technically.
Yeah, I
It
mean, I think
be
AJ Brown will finish a book on the sideline. Yeah,
yeah, and that whole thing, wow, what a story. I mean, it definitely, yeah, it's an interesting story. It's kind of weird because I kind of see both sides. He's gotten a lot of flack for it,
you
but
should. Yeah,
also,
I don't care
I mean, yeah,
about
it's a
it at
book.
all.
It's
I think
not
it's
it's
I
not
think it's
like
just funnier
it's
than
not
anything
his it's
else.
not his tablet. It's not like he's playing it's not like he's playing Subway
Did you
Surfers.
buy the book? Did you read the lines he was reading?
I heard about it. Yeah, I heard the
Did
quote.
you read
Yeah.
the lines? Did you read the book?
I didn't read the whole book. I heard the quote that he was
Were
like,
you fired up
yeah, it's
after reading
beautiful,
that
man.
book a little bit? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's
I
beautiful.
I kind of like it was kind of good meditation. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
sure.
No, I get it. It was just funny. It was just a weird. It's one of those weird modern like media things that everybody just blows out of proportion. And shout out to that
William's
guy for
been doing it
being
all year too.
the #1 author now. Off this strength of
Five
AJ
million
Brown.
percent. It's
Congrats,
crazy.
congrats to that guy. AJ Brown just changed his life. So that's cool. Anyways, Jimmy, this game, yeah, it comes down to the trenches. I think I'm kind of like weirdly feeling a swell in my body towards taking the Rams. I just feel like Hurts has kind of time and time again. You mentioned it's not his best year. I feel like you want to talk about pixie dust. I feel like the pixie dust that Hurts rode to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, I feel like it's gone. I feel like we're kind of looking at the Eagles winning with a game manager ish, because even your average game manager is, I would say, higher percentage in terms of accuracy. I think Jalen Hurts, his accuracy evades him at times, and his he's an elusive quarterback. He's a mobile quarterback. He's a rushing quarterback, but his ability to run fast eludes him at times. He's kind of a little clunky. Like, I don't know. I'm not as impressed by Jalen Hurts as I once was. I kind of think the last handful of seasons he's kind of lost some of that magic, and I think we might have put him in tier 2.
Are you? I want you on the record. Are you going to call him a tush push merchant? I want you on the record to say
I
that.
can't do that. I can't say that because that's what too many, that's what Twitter wants me to do, Jimmy.
Yeah. I wanted the clip. I wanted the
I
clip.
can't do it. I can't do it. I think he's a quarterback you can win with, but I don't think he's a quarterback you'll win because of. And I think if Stafford has anything left in those middle-aged bones, he's like 5 years older than me. If Stafford has anything left in those middle-aged bones, this is
Oh
the
my
year
god.
for him to
He
go
is
out
not that old, is he?
and show it. No, he's like he's
Yeah.
like 30 something. It's like in
Yeah,
his like mid
he's
30s.
ancient. Yeah, I agree.
You said ancient? Wow.
Ancient, yeah. No, but yeah, that's the difference maker, right? Like I think out of all the position groups, you could honestly say that it's like the D line for the Rams and maybe even the quarterback.
And the
what?
receivers. I think I would
really?
I think I would take Puka. Yeah, right now with how, AJ Brown's, he's been streaky this year, man.
Yeah.
He's been really up and down. I think I would take Puka right now. I mean, long
That's
term
fair.
for sure, but in terms of
I
in
think that's
this
something.
game,
Yeah, I think that's something
uh,
to do with like the quarterback too. Like
yeah,
I
it's
think maybe,
possible. That's a
yeah,
fair
maybe.
point.
But the
Absolutely.
Eagles are also losing Nakobe Dean. I think Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is coming out for the linebacker position. So that's a spot where I feel like Matthew Stafford can just zip that into to Puka and Puka
Yeah.
get like a 30-yard gain.
Yep.
Cooper Kupp, we'll see where he's at. He's had a down year for sure.
Yeah, and not just a
hasn't had a
down
lot
year,
of.
but really a down month. Like, they don't even look at him anymore,
Mhm.
it feels like. I was wondering, like, what did he do to Stafford?
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know.
What did he do? Did he cut him out? Did he steal his parking spot? Like, what the hell?
I'm not in that circle. Oh,
There
parking
is some
spot would be devious.
there's some
That would
bad
be devious.
there's some bad vibes there. I'm mortified at the lack of utilization for Cooper Kupp. They used to be best friends. They used to eat breakfast together every day. So I don't know.
What do they eat? Like avocado toast? Like I mean, they're in
Coffee,
LA, so like, what are
bananas.
they doing? You're in LA. What are they eating?
I ate oatmeal for breakfast today. Maybe they eat oatmeal together.
Gotta get that fiber. Sure.
Jimmy, I think I'm gonna do the same thing that you did with the last one. I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna, despite my confidence in Saquon Barkley, I think he'll have an awesome game. I think Kyron Williams will counterpunch that, but I think I take Stafford and the Rams passing attack, even with how great Philly's defense has been all year, and I think I'll take the Rams in an upset 23-17.
Yeah, I honestly love that you did that. I think that's a fair way to pick it. I even made a list. I was like, here's why I think the Rams could win, because I was potentially looking at that as my upset. They've allowed the second fewest points in the league since week 16. Let's see what else. Top 5 red zone defense. They've, since they played a certain team, they're only allowing about 100 rush yards per game. But that certain teams ran the ball for over 300 yards against them. And I'm not saying Saquon's going to have a couple hundred yards, but 170, I think will do it. I think the 170 will do it. I don't think the Rams will be able to stop Saquon. I think that's a recipe that they've mastered, and I think that's a difference maker. And this is Eagles' playoff run that it has been in the past. So I'm going to go 24-20 Eagles. Eagles. I think the Rams. I think the Rams could be a house money team too. Honestly, if you think about it, I don't think they expect you to be in this position with a playoff win like just a few weeks ago. They were in a up and down conference or division, I guess, but they made it. They're here in the divisional round, and I think they do have a chance to win. But Saquon.
Exactly. Saquon is the X factor when Philly has the ball, and I just think LA riding the high and the emotional high, like doing it for the city, like the narrative, like I really think there's just enough steam there for me that I'm comfortable doing it. I'll do it with my chest. I'm taking the Rams. What's your score?
24-20 Eagles.
24-20 Philly. Yeah, we're in a similar bracket. 23-17. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Worst Jimmy game of the round. Yeah.
And Adrian and everybody who's ever watched this show has already heard me rant enough about the MVP debate, so I'm not even going to address it. I'll just say
Just address it.
The matchup between the two MVP favorites. Ladies and gentlemen, the Baltimore Ravens.
Favorites?
The 3 seed traveling to Orchard Park, New York to take on the 2 seed Buffalo Bills. And yes, Jimmy, you read that right.
Is that actually?
It's actually the truth. Baltimore in Buffalo are 1.5 point favorites over the Buffalo Bills. And I could really address this game from so many different angles. And we saw these two teams play in week 4. I'll just come right out and say, I guess I'll start with that. I think that's the lazy analysis that we've seen too much of this week. Baltimore dismantled Buffalo 35-10 in week 4, and within 10 days, Amari Cooper was traded for. Buffalo acquired Amari Cooper. I think this game had something to do with it. Buffalo did not have Von Miller, who was serving a suspension. Buffalo did not have Teron Johnson, their starting all-pro slot corner. Buffalo did not have Matt Milano, their starting all-pro linebacker. Buffalo did not have Terrell Bernard, their starting Pro Bowl linebacker. So you don't have your nickel corner and your 2 starting linebackers or your edge defender, and you think your Hall of Fame edge defender, and you think that whatever result Baltimore had on offense is replicatable. You think that whatever result Baltimore had on Buffalo was on the road. This one's at home. I don't think. Look, I've been back and forth all week myself. I'm a Bills fan. I've been back and forth all week myself about which team I'm going to take to win, but I am not really heavily considering the week 4 game remotely in my analysis for this game.
I agree with that completely. I feel like it's a farce, or whatever that word is, whatever that word means.
I think that works.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a farce to kind of look back at that game and be like, that's exactly what's going to happen 18 weeks later.
3 months.
You know what I mean?
Almost 4, huh? 18 weeks.
These teams are always different. Obviously, I mean, we saw Derrick Henry run for 199 yards, something crazy against you guys. I mean, it was not a good game for you guys. Yeah. I don't see that. If you say that's happening in this game, that's a reach in my opinion. I think this is going to be a nail biter game. At least I hope so, man. I think the Derrick Henry difference was the thing in week 4, and like you said, going back and forth on which team to pick. I'm sitting here. I'm like, I don't even know which team you can pick with a straight face and be like, that team's for sure going to win. You could be
coin flip.
You could be like the Ravens, they're rushing attack. They're running for a couple hundred yards per game. Derrick Henry's the difference. They have Kyle Hamilton. They have that defense rolling since since they had some mistakes in the first 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Or you could be like, the Bills could get that running game going. Josh Allen has 100 different receivers. Again, with the hyperbole.
No.
Yeah, I mean, they have 100 different receivers,
Literally
including
100.
Pierce coming out of his shell, Curtis
Yeah.
Samuel, even Ray Davis, James Cook, Kincaid, Knox. I mean, you have all of these guys. The barefoot guy, wherever
Matt
he's at.
Collins, the GOAT.
Yeah, the legend, dude.
The legend.
I can't wait to see his fit.
Dude, the
It'd be
Flintstones
awesome.
fit was crazy.
Yeah, and then you could throw in the defense, getting some players back that you guys didn't have in week 4, like you just mentioned. That's you could go either way with this game.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
absolutely.
just a fact, and
yeah,
that's why everybody's so excited for this game, because everybody, honestly, like both of these teams, I would love to see in the next round, but that's not what's going to happen. One of these teams is going to play the Chiefs, and try to dismantle them.
Or the Texans. Or the Texans. Or the Texans.
One of these teams is going to play the Texans or the Chiefs.
There you go.
Yeah,
just need that for respect.
Yeah, I don't know why I said Texans first, but
just need that for respect.
Yeah, fun fact: both these teams had the same point differential this season.
Oh wow, that's
plus
really
157. So I think that's kind of like, if the game had a title, it's like both these teams had the same point differential. Who knows? Don't make your picks. Don't look stupid. Just go win and enjoy a good football game, and
exactly
and see what the two beautiful coaches, the two beautiful quarterbacks, the two beautiful defenses. See what they do. See if Derrick Henry, he might get an 80-yard touchdown run. Who knows?
It might happen. It might happen.
Yeah.
I'll say this, Jimmy. I think I have to say, in the past, games like this, specifically the divisional round, for Buffalo, it's been their Achilles heel. I believe it's been 3 years in a row.
And since 2020, you guys haven't made it past the divisional
2020
round.
Was our last time making it to the AFC Championship.
That doesn't make sense to me in my head. To be honest with you.
It sucks as a fan. It's terrible. We've been quarterfinals, and we are in the quarterfinals now, and we're underdogs at home. I'll say this, Jimmy. I think in games like this in the past, it came down to Sean McDermott. And I like Sean McDermott a lot. I'm a huge fan of his. I advocate for him to remain the coach. I think we're opening a new stadium, and I think we want as much organizational stability going into that time as possible. And I think Sean McDermott and the culture that he's created, one of 4 coaches in NFL history to win 11 games in 5 straight seasons. He's a special dude. Thank you. He's a special dude. And it's unfortunate that his legacy right now and his reputation, very Andy Reid and Philly vibes. His legacy right now, and he is on the Andy Reid coaching tree. His legacy right now is that he chokes in the big game. And he coaches us out of games in the playoffs a lot with either being overly conservative or making a coaching blunder or time management or whatever you want to say. So I think all eyes on McDermott. I said it before last week's game that Josh Allen is one of the greatest playoff quarterbacks of all time. He threw for 272 and 2, and his averages went down. That's how special Josh Allen is in the playoffs, and I think that will continue against Baltimore. I think they have a great defense, and they'll slow us down probably more than Denver could, who had the third-ranked defense in the league. But Harbaugh he's good in the playoffs, man, and I think he'll draw up some stuff to slow Josh Allen down. I think it'll be pseudo shootout, like it'll be more of like a Bills-Chiefs last year shootout than a Bills-Chiefs 13 seconds shootout. I think it'll be in the 20s, both teams. I think James Cook is the key. You talked about great offensive lines. I think you left one out. I think Buffalo has one of the best offensive lines in the league, and I think especially with Dawkins pulling, man, there's really nobody meaner. And old friend of mine, Deion Dawkins, we have that photo together that we took at Barbell Tavern last summer. I'll remember that day for the rest of my life. So, Jimmy, I do have to do what I have to do as a fan. I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit because I think we still have to talk about, Derrick Henry. I've had nightmares. I've had several nightmares.
You should. You should still have nightmares tonight. Yeah, next 2 nights.
I will have nightmares. I will have nightmares until kickoff. And
if that takes away the Bills team's nightmares, and like you take some of that, if that's how it works.
Hopefully,
I'm sure you'd rather have nightmares than miss the conference championship again.
I'll suffer for them. Yeah, he's gonna get his. I don't think you can doubt
Yeah,
that.
he
And
is.
I think
Yeah.
so is Lamar. I think our
Oh,
defense getting back 2 All Pros, a Pro Bowler, and a Hall of Famer is gonna make a difference. I don't think it's gonna be easy for them like it was in Week 4. But I'm confident that they'll do enough to the point where I think 17 is gonna have the ball in the fourth quarter with a chance to go win the game, and I think he's gonna do it. I'm confident that this is Josh Allen's year to get the divisional round monkey off his back and get into the next round of the playoffs for the first time since 2020, his initial breakout season. So I'll pick the Bills to win. I'll say 27-24.
all right. Yeah. I picked the Bills on Monday, and I'm going to go ahead and just stick to the Bills.
Oh, I
Once
wasn't going
again,
to be mad at you at all if you picked
I,
Baltimore.
I
Just for the
know. I
record, I
just,
want you to
yeah,
know that
I know.
this
It has
is
nothing to do with you.
do this of your own. Do this
You.
of your own volition.
I like the home
I almost picked
atmosphere.
Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean the home atmosphere. The Bills have been favored in 42 straight home games before this, so I think it's I don't know if the home field advantage is gonna help too much, but I think it's
9-0 at home.
there. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
One thing that sticks out for the Ravens, I think they're good on almost every positional group. Their Achilles heel, and we talked about it a little bit before the start of this is Justin Tucker. He's 77% from field goal, and I believe he's 7 for 16 from 50 plus. So they can't rely on him in the playoffs this year at all, and they might have to. So I have the Bills winning 28-27. That's kind of the story I made up because I think just for the Bills to win, but 28-27 could be the other way around. I'm hoping both teams win. I do love both teams, to be honest with you.
Too. It sucks that it's. I think if Baltimore had done their job and gotten the 1 seed, we could have had a Bills Ravens AFC Championship game. It wouldn't have been in Buffalo, so I prefer it this way. But it does.
Sure.
The narrative, and I'm not going to subscribe to this at all, but the narrative is the winner of this game is likely should be the Super Bowl favorite.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, the
I
Chiefs are going to be waiting for him, or the Texans.
Yeah, I don't subscribe to that.
I will say that, like we talked about house money teams, I think whatever the opposite of that is what both of these teams are. They both have monkeys on their back for sure.
Yeah.
Out of any team left, I mean, we have the Texans close to house money. We have the Chiefs. We have the Eagles, who they do have a Super Bowl, this decade. So you have to give them credit for that. We have the Lions, who they're still a great team.
Yeah.
But like the Bills and Ravens have been good for a long time with their quarterbacks for a long time now, to be honest with you, 6-7 years. So it's about that time we start talking about Super Bowls.
Yeah,
so
and it's
only one of these teams can win. So the narrative will be crazy no matter what.
It's pretty weird. I'll say this, Jimmy. I think if you want to weirdly talk about house money teams, like I would say this is more of a house money game for Buffalo than it is for Baltimore. I know they're the 2 seed. I know they're home, but this was a rebuilding year, and nobody denied that. And like I didn't think this was going to be the year they were going to get to the top of the mountain. I thought it was going to be. I figured they'd win the division. I figured they'd win a playoff game, but the amount of dead cap that they have on the books, the amount of assets that they lost, the transition of talent and power. I mean, it'll always be house money when you have 17. Or sorry, there should always be expectations when you have 17 in the building. You should always want to win a Super Bowl every single year with Josh Allen. But before this season, I would not have told you that I would have thought that this year was as Super Bowl or bust as any other year. I don't feel that way, but it'll be interesting to see.
I guess I just don't see it that way just because the quarterbacks and stuff are both there.
Understandable.
I always feel like they have a chance, and I'm like, they'll both be there. I mean, I said it before the season that the Bills are going to be in the Super Bowl, so we'll see.
Yeah, and actually, Takeo, no, I you're right. Like technically, they're not. It's like kind of a narrative, like the winner of this game has a pretty good shot of making it to the Super Bowl. Like I don't think anybody this year. I think the winner of this game will be favored to beat the Chiefs.
Maybe it's because it's that people look at the AFC as a little bit stronger than the NFC.
Yeah. I think you know what I mean. I'm not saying that. That's just a narrative.
You were saying that, honestly.
It's you.
It's 100% you.
And thank you, Takeo. Yeah, the Browns beat the Ravens. Like people forget the Ravens lost to the Browns. The Ravens lost to the Raiders. Like I don't know, man. The Bills, their losses, Jimmy, are against teams that are all still in. Well, with the exception of week
Cool.
18, Joe Milton. Like, with the exception of Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, the Colts almost beat the Bills too.
We could say that. Yeah, we can go with that narrative. I'm cool with that. Yeah,
Thank
totally.
you, appreciate that.
For sure. So Takedo's taking Buffalo. I'm taking Buffalo. Jimmy's taking Buffalo.
So it means
But
the
if
Ravens are going to win. Congratulations,
you go to
Ravens.
NFL.com, 8 out of the 10 experts picked Baltimore. And I don't know if fandom swaying me, but I just there's some sort of a weird I don't know, I have a weird confidence. I'm not saying I think the Bills are for sure going to win, but like I don't feel icky or bad about it, which sometimes going into Bills games I know. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't think they got this one, but I have a weird confidence.
You
about
shouldn't.
this game.
You shouldn't.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we did it. We made it through the divisional round of the playoffs, and we did it without our man from down under, Adrian Revito. And I
Good
miss
riddance.
him. I hope you guys miss him. Let's see. Do we have any Adrian? Here we go.
Got bad news for you, mate. I got bad news for you, mate. I got bad news for you, mate.
That's Adrian. For those of you who don't know,
Adrian Revito. He's Australian, and he's potentially looking for a house right now.
Yeah. Good luck.
Lying.
Good luck on that.
Good luck,
Jimmy,
buddy.
Anything you want to say to the good people before we sign off?
I just want to say I love doing this because it gives me it's a nice little warm up as I come into I end the work week and I come into the weekend and I'm like, what games are happening? And then I can talk about it with my friend Kevin Phillip Fox.
It's a beautiful thing.
Host of Legit. It's a beautiful thing. Music's a beautiful thing. Mac Miller album dropping.
I haven't listened to it yet. I'm excited. I get to talk football with the founder of NFL Stats, the Hamburglar himself, trademark, Hemi Ray.
I forgot who you talk. I was like, who is he talking about? I was like, oh yeah, that's
the
guy.
Hamburglar. We really got to try to get Brian McFadden and Adrian. We got to get a roundtable Avenger style legit football preview episode. What are we doing here? Why are we lose focus so late in the episode, camera? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kevin Phillip Fox, co-host of Legit Football. He is Hamburglar, Hemi Ray, founder of NFL Stats, and we are out.